put your hands together and join me in welcoming to the stage Cameron Monaghan.
Thank you. Love you too.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How's everybody here today? Thanks for sticking around.
How is the convention going so far for you?
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
We're on the West Coast. This is my home state, so it's good to be hanging out in California.
Nice. Well, I'm going to kick things off with a few questions for you, and then we will turn things over to fans. So start thinking if you have any questions. Earlier this year, when I was moderating a panel for you, you talked about studying with Rada last summer, and I'm curious, now that you've taken more courses, and Rada is such an incredible program, and learning more about acting and directing, and particularly directing, has that experience now made you a better actor for directors, now that you have that understanding?
Oh, that's interesting. I think that it's kind of funny because acting is ultimately about being present and being very reactive. And so you need to kind of forget the overall plans of the intention of what things are supposed to be in your brain, and instead just experience whatever it is from a moment-to-moment basis, which is ultimately kind of the opposite of a director. A director needs to be taking in all aspects of a moment, of a scene, of a shot, of everything, and observing in order to try to course correct and to, direct. And so it's been an interesting challenge. I've now directed just a short film that I directed earlier this year, as well as I've directed some stuff for theater, and directing myself is challenging, to say the least. Frankly, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to be able to direct without necessarily appearing in it. But to answer your question, I'm not sure. All I've really learned is how much an actor gets to take for granted to show up to set and not have to worry about a lot of things. And so much of the job of a director and a crew is to allow the actors the freedom to not feel like they have the responsibilities and the stresses of the production hanging over their head. At the end of the day, they need to come in and express very freely, and it needs to be the job of a crew, and specifically of a director, to create an environment where that feels free to be able to do that. So I don't know, but we're still finding that, I think.
I like that. So in addition to acting and directing, do you have aspirations to do writing as well, to kind of do the three?
Yeah, so I actually went to college for creative writing, and I specialized in screenwriting. So that was something that I wrote a lot in college, wrote a number of screenplays, and over the past few years I've continued to write. So that's ultimately something that I would like to continue doing. Writing is probably the most thankless job in Hollywood. Writers are really taken for granted, and it can feel nightmarish sometimes when you're working within a studio system and trying to write things. But that being said, to be able to direct something that I've written, I think is a really wonderful thing. But I'm also ultimately open to working with other writers and bringing other people's visions to life as well. I think that there's a strength in both of that.
That. And off of that, you just were in the off-Broadway, the first run of Clifford Odets' The Nursery, an unpublished work of his that was found at the Lee Strauss Conservatory, I think. What was that experience like for you? I mean, that's so remarkable to get to bring to life and put words to something that really hasn't been spoken yet.
Yeah, so basically there's a pretty well-known writer within the theater world named Clifford Odets. And Clifford Odets wrote primarily in the 1950s. He was kind of a contemporary of Tennessee Williams and Arthur Miller. And he wrote stuff that felt at the time pretty explosive and progressive and challenging. And he wrote this one piece called The Nursery that was never published and was never performed. So for 70 years, it sat in a vault, basically. And so we approached the estate of Clifford Odets to be able to adapt the play. And that was a beautiful opportunity. Something that I would like to, first of all, I would like to be able to bring that play back and do a longer run. We only were able to perform it for a week. Sold out every show, which was amazing. And that was a beautiful growing experience in its own right. And so, yeah, we had partnered with the Lee Strasberg Studio, which is a studio that specializes in method acting and kind of finding a way to access characters from that way. They work with NYU. So we rehearsed for 5 weeks over at the Strasberg Studio, went deep into these characters and found them and found new parts of ourselves in the process. That was beautiful, and to be able to do that, it's something that I would like to be able to do with every character. And much of the time, you don't get the luxury to do that in film and television. So that's something that I love about being able to work in theater.
I love theater because there's such an intimacy to it. The crowd every day is a new audience getting to experience this, and it's a very communal experience, much like sitting here in front of all of you and having this moment.
Yeah, I genuinely recommend going and experiencing local theater around you. If you haven't had the chance to experience it, there's an immediacy to it and a beauty to it that I think is amazing, and it's only more prescient now more than ever in a time when we have AI-generated content and we have a lot of stuff that is computer-generated and whatever. To be able to go just experience stories and actors right in front of you, I think that's refreshing and worthwhile. So, you know, if there's anything that you guys take from this, go watch more theater. I promise it's very fun.
It is. You have a movie coming out next year, Aries. I know the trailer is not out yet. People have seen some footage at D23. They keep dropping new pictures like every week. Have you seen like a trailer yet? Have you seen what it looks like? I mean, I know you can't say much about it, but I feel like, you know, a reaction. So I'm very excited for that. The pictures look so cool.
I've seen little bits and pieces of it so far. It looks amazing. I mean, it's a very in-depth process to create it. You know, they're really taking their time to make it a beautiful, realized world. And so most of what I can see right now is not finished, and I would rather wait to see it in a finished product. And, you know, so I'm excited to sit in the theater with everybody else and watch it.
I'm excited for that soundtrack too, with 9 Inch Nails and Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. We will be turning to fan questions in just a moment, so start thinking. We have microphones, I want to say right here and right here, but first we are going to play a little game, which is Who Said That? So I'm going to say a quote from one of your characters, and you're going to have to recall who it was who said these infamous lines.
All right.
Please don't judge how I perform the lines. So line number 1 is, a very good friend of mine told me to go out and find my place in the galaxy.
Who said that? That sounds to me like a little Kestis.
That one was almost too easy, I think. I mean, the galaxy is a dead
Yeah,
giveaway.
that's a good hint. It's a good hint.
Good hint. Okay, line number 2. Too much is wrong with me. You can't do anything about that. You can't change it. You can't fix me because I'm not broken.
Who said that? That sounds like Ian Gallagher.
Yeah, some Shameless fans out there? Yeah. All right, line number 3. Well, not to toot my own horn, but I'm very resourceful fellow. So toot, toot, toot.
Who said that? Jerome Valeska.
Yeah, ooh, Gotham fans in the house, yeah. And line number 4, the last line. Yeah, well, my father's stereo is a Bose.
Was that Gandhi?
No?
Abraham Lincoln?
No?
I think that was Kevin O'Doyle from the film Click.
Yes, very good. See, you know the lines you've said. All right, well, we're going to turn to fans now. So, we're going to start right here.
Cameron, huge fan. Thank you for being vulnerable, not only on the page, but clearly, you know, in every IP that you're a part of. My question is, it's hard to navigate, but I'm going to get there. So the writer strikes and currently the performance capture strikes that are occurring right now, if you're not aware of that, folks, right now, which is why some people aren't talking about the projects that are in video games. And with all the pivots and how you've developed and broadened and really expanded the Venn diagram of your skill set, what is left for you? And you're so young, what is there left to do other than just keep going and keep creating?
Boy, I mean, there's a lot to be done. You know, I'm very thankful for the opportunities that I've had, but I feel like there's so much that's been yet to be explored and expressed. I feel that we continue to grow and our outlooks change. And the person that I am now, I feel like there's facets to me that have not been expressed. Ultimately, all I really want is to work with people that I respect and see artists with something interesting or new to say. To be able to create something that changes perceptions, to, you know, how we experience the world is influenced by the things that we see, the art that we experience. I think that there are so many talented artists out there, and in every aspect, in film, television, theater, and in games and performance capture and voice capture, voice over as well. So, you know, thank you for the shout out as well for the strikes and for the game industry. But yeah, I mean, there's a million things, you know. I hope I get the opportunity to be able to explore and express more.
Big fan, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Great question. All right, we're gonna go over here now.
Hello, I actually have a two-parter. First one's going to be, how was the experience moving from like traditional acting to motion capture? And the second one was, when you did Kestis, did you look back at the Force Unleashed and Sam Witwer's performance as Starkiller, like play any role like in your like how you represented your character, or were you like gonna ignore that and do my own thing? Just wondering.
Yeah. So to answer the first part of your question,
because it really felt like an accurate and true portrayal of what it feels like to struggle with that, that illness.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. I know that's a very vulnerable thing to say, and to recognize that there is a problem and to seek help. I think is a really beautiful thing. So I think that's wonderful. And yeah, I mean, this was a story that was close to me, as well as John Wells, who was the creator and head writer of the show, and a number of writers on the team as well. I have a number of family members that have mental illness, including bipolar. And John's sister was diagnosed when she was quite young, and he grew up in a household where that was something that he had to learn to come to terms with and interact with. And I think that it was really important to all of us to tell that story responsibly, and with empathy and with understanding, and hopefully we did our best. And I really appreciate that you saw a mirroring in yourself, and if that could help in any way, then that's really appreciated. So thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Great question. All right, back over here.
Hi. I was wondering whether it's a TV show or a movie or even a cameo, do you think we'll ever see like a live action Kestis?
I guess we'll have to wait and find out. I appreciate it. I appreciate the interest.
Every time somebody tries to get that exclusive out of you. Right, over here next.
Hi, I loved your portrayal of Mason Ashford in Vampire Academy. The character is my favorite character of all time in general. And I was just wondering, what was your favorite part of playing him, either from the acting itself or preparing for him? What your favorite part of him in general was?
I mean, we were like 19-year-old kids who got to go to London for 2 months, and we were all around each other and getting to be on these wonderful sets and then get put up in central London. And a lot of us were American, where the drinking age was 21, and we were going in as 18, 19-year-old kids. That was very exciting. So a lot of that experience was getting to meet a lot of wonderful young actors, a lot of which have gone on to have a monumental amount of success. But that was a incredible experience from the side of a young actor, kind of getting to go as an adult for the first time in a foreign country and experience that. So I think a lot of my favorite memories were the friends that I made on that set, some of which I'm still really close to now. I want to give a shout out specifically to Chris Mason, who played a very small role in that film, and he just recently got one of the lead roles of Dune Prophecy. So if you're watching that show, that's one of my really good buddies, and I'm so excited for him and so proud of him. But yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was a good question. All right, back over here.
Hi, I'm curious if you were given the reins over Jerome or Jeremiah over any timeline, who would you want to feud with?
Feud with?
Yes.
I don't want that smoke. Hell no, are you kidding me?
But you're given the reins, like, you get to pick.
Oh man, I don't know. I think Jeremiah might kill me quicker, so maybe.
No, not you specifically. I mean, you portraying those parts, who would you want to feud with?
Wait, what?
They said as the character,
Yes,
who
yes.
you would want him to feud with.
Who would I want
across
him to feud
any
with?
timeline?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I'm thinking like Danny DeVito's Penguin or Jim Carrey's Riddler, like.
Yeah. Why don't we go with like
There's so many.
I know, there's a lot.
like Mussolini. I don't know, like some like fascist, like unleash the J's on them. I think that would be great.
That's
Be
a good one.
entertaining.
That's great. All right, we're gonna go over here now.
Well, thank you for coming. I know that you're traveling all over the world, so I just want to say first and foremost, thank you. I've been seeing you
Thank you.
since Malcolm in the Middle, Shameless, and obviously Gotham. And unfortunately, I might try to not repeat what he just said, but will we see more of the Joker, adult version?
Frankly, I don't think in that form. I played those roles for 5 years, and they were wonderful, an amazing opportunity. It was also very stressful, and I didn't sleep for 5 years, and that was my whole world. And I am very proud to be able to have done that, but there are a lot of characters that I'd love to play, and I think for now, they're to bed.
Okay.
But I appreciate it.
All right, no, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back over here.
Hi, I followed you through Shameless, Gotham, and then Cal Kestis, but my question is more in regards to your, excuse me, recent experience in photography, because as a photographer, I love your stuff. So I'm curious what photography does for you as a person, and what it does for your process in acting, directing, writing, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that specifically with directing is why I really wanted to focus back on the camera for the last few years. I grew up around cameras, on sets, always the camera crew have been the people that I tended to relate to or talk to the most. And so around 17, I got my first film camera and I started shooting film. And then there was a number of years that I kind of had a lull where I wasn't making as much anymore. And then for the last few years, I really went back to try to learn it. And to me, it's really important to keep training the eye for composition. Something that I try to do in general is I try to visit galleries, and even if it's not photographs, if it's paintings or anything that requires, even stage work requires composition. I think it's really helpful. If the ultimate goal is to direct, and it is for me, the more that I can try to train my eye the better. So I'm just trying to look through a viewfinder whenever I can. But I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. Yeah, check out the Leica store. It's like 5 minutes out.
I'll blow all my earnings if I do that. I'm gonna stay away from the Leicas.
Back over here.
Hi, okay, so my question is more just like about you as a person. I just wanted to know, like, what kind of music do you listen to?
I mean, I listen to a lot, obviously a lot of like older stuff. Like the kind of go-to is like always like old soul. So I listen to like a lot of like Otis Redding, you know, Marvin Gaye, something like that. But recently, I really enjoyed the Tyler album, listening to Kendrick's new album. I listen to like a lot of like hip hop. But I don't know, there's a lot of good stuff. I even think there's a lot of good stuff happening in pop right now. I'm digging it. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was a fun question. All right, back over here.
Hi, if you could live in any fictional universe, what would it be?
Oh boy. I mean, Star Trek used to be pretty calm. Now the new stuff, it seems like everything is exploding and people are angry all the time. But like if you go to like the 1960s Gene Roddenberry Star Trek, things were generally pretty peaceful.
Yeah, I mean, we're in San Francisco right now, where Starfleet is. And
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
Totally.
I like that. Excellent. Back over here.
Hi, I just want to say I love your role as Cal Kestis, and I wanted to ask what it was like sort of stepping into that role, and if it was sort of unfamiliar territory for you. I know it's probably a lot getting into the Star Wars universe as a whole, but I was wondering what that was like for you.
What was it like just playing the role in general?
Just kind of getting into the role itself and what the experience was like when you first started.
I mean, I was very lucky that we had a great script with the first game that I came to, and they already had some really wonderful ideas of how they wanted to access the character. To me, a lot of that story is kind of dealing with traumatic events from a young age, the idea of how PTSD can affect you and change your outlook on life, and it can affect your relationships, and ultimately how even when you experience great loss, you can still find ways to create companionship and family. And I thought it was a beautifully delicate story that was being told. And I don't believe that any performer is an island. I mean, I was lucky enough to work with wonderful, generous castmates and a really great team that supported us as we found and created these characters. To me, now the most important thing has just been trying to find the overall direction and arc of the character as he continues to grow and change and experience new challenges and responsibilities. So yeah, I don't know if I can just like easily say like what it's like, but it's been a joy to be able to find him. So I love this character, and it's something that I feel very honored to be able to play.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, back over here.
Hi. On the second game, Jedi Survivor, your character gets to have a lot of emotional depth, and then you got to have some romantic scenes and kissing scenes. So, how does that work? Do they put dots and balls on your face when you make out with the other actress?
Well, so it's actually funny, with performance capture, because you're in these suits that have basically these like tracking markers, and these suits are kind of made out of essentially Velcro. So when you're in a scene interacting with a person, if you go and tap them on the shoulder, your hand might get stuck to them. And you've got these cameras attached to your helmet with a basically like a rod connecting them. And so if you're in a scene with another actor and you get your camera in front of them, it's called locking horns. It's like you're two stags out in the wilderness battling. You can easily get stuck. So it's a very strange thing. You have to kind of learn how to act side by side with a person, and then they're going to turn your head to them later. Very weird, but yeah, you actually spend a lot of time kissing air. when you're in one of those intimate scenes.
Thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Back over here now.
Hi, so you've played a lot of characters and they're very lived in and very colorful. Is there a role that you want to portray, maybe a superhero or a biopic or horror, something that you haven't done, or a character that you haven't done that you really want to portray?
Yeah, I mean, Orson Welles is a big one for me. He's a person that I find kind of endlessly fascinating, and I've been reading a lot about him as of late. That's my gut go-to at the moment, but I mean, there's a billion fascinating people in the world. I really have never had the opportunity to portray a existing person before, either living or dead person. So I think that would be my next big challenge, would be able to find somebody who really lived, and to be able to understand them and try to interpret a life, basically.
You do it well, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Excellent. Back over here.
Hey, I was wondering about Shameless. I feel like you guys were kids when you started the show, dealing with very adult themes.
Yeah.
Working together for like 9 years, did you feel more like coworkers, or did it become like a real sibling relationship with drama and all the fun?
Yeah, I mean, we shot 11 seasons of the show, so we worked on it for actually nearly 12 years ultimately. I think I just turned 16 when we started the show, and I was 28 when we ended it. Yeah, I mean, we grew up together. You know, the youngest siblings, Emma and Ethan, were 10 or 9 when we started the show, and are now adults, grown adults. We watched them age, and then we got a number of cast members over the years too that kind of grew with us. We're all still tight now. We still see each other, and yeah, I really do. When I introduce them, I do introduce them as my brothers or sisters, because they are to me.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Excellent. Back over here.
Hello. So you've worked alongside a lot of amazing people with some of the projects you've had, and I was just curious, is there any like bucket list person for you that you would like to work with, either as a director or a fellow actor?
Oh man, yeah. How much time you got?
Top few.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to, there's so many people that would just be fascinating to watch. Who's doing cool stuff right now? Luca Guadagnino's doing really cool stuff. Denis Villeneuve's doing really cool stuff. I mean, boy, I really, all I want is to work with people who have their own views and visions, and come in with ideas that are challenging, that are unpredictable, that, you know, there are so many uncommon brains, and that's who I want to work with. So yeah, I mean, gosh, the list would be too long to be able to say here.
No, thank you so much, and I love all your projects that you've done. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent. Back over here now.
Hi. So Star Wars Visions just announced a 3rd season. I was just wondering, if there was a 4th season and it was Cal Kestis, what storyline would you like to see fleshed out?
Oh man, maybe like a Turgle spin-off show. Maybe Turgle's Wild Adventures, Mr. Turgle's Wild Ride.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Law and Order and Survivor, what was it like approaching Cal again when he's like 5 years older versus how he ends in Survivor? Fall in Order.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we really wanted to figure out and define what he's been through, and not necessarily say it, but to kind of understand it through the context of seeing him. I think that he's had 5 long years, and they've been hard miles that have been on him. So we wanted him to be represented both visually with the character, but also just spiritually. And I think that when we find him at the start of that story, he's pretty despondent and has gone through a lot, and is on the precipice of giving up. So we had a lot of discussions about what that meant for us, and did a lot of work to find what that was. That's something that we never really wanted to explicitly say, at least for now. Maybe at one point we will, but that was important, and it caused a lot of conversations. That's something that we kind of keep close to the vest.
Thank you so much. Also,
Thank you.
Ponchos forever.
We have about 5 more minutes left, so we're going to try to get through as many of you as possible. You're here again tomorrow for autographs, correct?
No,
You're done today?
This is it
all
for me.
right. All right, well then we'll definitely try to get through all of you. So let's go over here now.
I was wondering if next year, are there more people from Gotham gonna show up?
Oh, I don't know, you'd have to ask them.
Also, do you have a real twin brother?
No, just me. Not that I know of.
There's not gonna be another series of Gotham? No, like another Gotham series, no? Okay, that's it.
Thank you. All right, next over here.
Hi. So it was really inspiring to hear that you were actually taking classes at Rada again, just after being an established actor and coming back to code classes and learn directing, I believe it was. Do you have any advice for any new creatives? Because I'm sure a lot of us, maybe even in this room, are creatives ourselves and would like to know if you have any advice either from your experience as an actor or as you're going through classes again.
Yeah, I think that my advice ultimately is nobody is going to give you the keys to the kingdom. You have to go and find it for yourself. There's kind of this myth that, you're gonna turn a corner and someone's gonna hand you something and you're gonna, get the golden key and say, oh, I made it now, but it's not really how it works. Ultimately, you need to go and find your voice and what means something to you, and to create and make stuff for yourself as often as possible. And if you can trick people into paying you to do that, then do it. And the times that you can't, then force yourself to make it yourself. Do it by any means. And it doesn't mean having to be elaborate. It doesn't mean spending money. It just means making things for you and for your own satisfaction. That's what I've learned ultimately is you can have all the success that you want, but it doesn't mean that you get satisfaction or gratification out of it. Ultimately, what's important to you is what's going to be important to you. So make those things and value those above everything else.
I think that last part is going to really stick with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Back over here.
Hey, first and foremost, Cameron, I respect the drip. Where'd you get that shirt from, bro?
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. This is an English company, I think. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, for sure. And then my next question is hella quick, though. What's your hardest level on Survivor? Because for me, bro, it's Vader. Took 10 hours, man. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember falling into the Ogdo Bogdo trap, and that was definitely fell for that one a couple too many times, and was very stubborn about not leaving it.
I'm with you, bro. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
you,
man.
I love that. Back over here.
Yeah, so I have a question. It's like between the two games, the Fallen Order and the Survivor, which reacting scene was very complicated for you between the two games?
Complicated, I don't know. There were scenes that we really valued getting right, and sometimes that took a little effort or conversation to figure it out. There were a couple times that we went back and redid the scenes because we found that we had to shift a bit of the writing or a bit of the characterization. There were some scenes early on with Marin that we really had to work on. Specifically, I remember there's a scene where she ultimately decides to come with Cal and to join the Mantis crew. And we really wanted to make sure that that was a decision that made sense from her standpoint and was something that she was choosing on her own volition, knowing the history of that character. And I remember that being a pretty challenging scene to kind of figure out. And so the writers, Tina and I, all had to have multiple discussions on what was the best way to approach that. But I don't know if that was necessarily like complicated so much as it is, we just really wanted to get it right. And it was important to us that we felt it was coming from a genuine place.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna try to rapid fire these. So Hugh.
Hey Cam, my name is Ray. I've been blessed to have worked heavily on Jedi Fallen Order since the very beginning, including its naming, managing the process, how the game got made, announced. I think I speak for everyone here. It's been great seeing it grow into the Star Wars universe for sure. So my question is, how does it feel to see new Star Wars shows and movies include more and more references to the events of Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, and making its events and characters officially Star Wars canon? Like if Lucasfilm comes calling to have Cal Kestis in a Star Wars film or Star Wars show, will you answer that call?
I mean, it's really cool to see the stuff that we built and made and worked on and talked about together, to see that live in other forms of media is always really cool. I feel very protective of the character of Cal, so ultimately all I want to do is, if we're going to be telling a story, to make sure that we're doing something special with it and driving the character forward and progressing it in some way. I want it to have meaning and for it to make sense within the overall arc of that character. So right now, that's the most important thing above anything else.
Trust only in the Force.
Excellent. Back over here.
I was just wondering, who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Me? No. BD1. Yeah.
Yes.
He'd shock me if I didn't say that.
Over here.
I was just wondering, how long exactly did it take to film an episode of Shameless?
How long did it take to film?
Or yeah, like just like individual episodes. Would you get just like one done in a day, or just how long would it
Episodes usually took about 8 shooting days, 8 work days in Los Angeles, where we would shoot all the interiors. Then every 6 episodes, we would go to Chicago and we would shoot 6 episodes worth of exteriors in bulk for a week and a half. So we would be back and forth. So it's hard to say exactly how many days, but in the ballpark of like between 8 to 10 days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back over here.
Hey, I'm Treyas, and wanted to ask a question of, have you ever influenced any part of the story or the game in Fallen Order or Survivor? And if so, which ones do you think are the most impactful changes that you've gotten them to make?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we have a wonderful writing team, and I wouldn't want to take anything away from them. When you work on characters, you have to kind of be a protector of your character and kind of like almost like a lawyer for them, where you have to advocate on their part. You're understanding the case from their perspective. And to me, that was always the contributions that I wanted to make. It was less about idiosyncrasies of the story that don't directly involve the characterization of Cal. But anything that involved the characterization of Cal was something that we had discussed or worked on. And specifically between the first and second game, there was a lot of story beats that we had discussed and brought together. So it was a collaborative effort throughout the entire process.
Cool, glad to know you were involved, and it's really nice to know that you were a Star Wars fan before then.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, last question over here, and then we'll do the last question over there.
Hi Cameron, are there any talks about a Shameless reunion? And if so, who would you most look forward to seeing again?
I mean, we see each other all the time, so you know.
Like full cast.
Yeah, but we don't really have to look forward to seeing each other. No, there's no talks. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's something that would happen one day.
Yeah.
But 11 years is a long time, so I think we're all letting it rest for the time being.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. And now to our last question.
Hey. My question is, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Favorite Star Wars movie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you gotta go OG. You gotta do maybe a little Empire. Yeah. I know it's not the most original, but come on, it's so good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, man.
That was a great note to end on. Let's put our hands together one more time and thank Cameron for coming. And then everybody will be exiting out this back area. Thank you.